the Ag Show now. As we told you Tuesday morning during the quick weekly crop report, just 11% of Texas corn has been planted, well behind average, and it's because of rain delays. Jack Find reports that after nearly 5 years of drought, parts of Texas are too wet to plant corn.
This is what no producer ever wants to show you. It's embarrassing to have a field look like this, but there's nothing we can do about it.
The recent ice and snowstorms and rains, not the drought, have kept Waxahachie farmer John Paul Deneen from planting his largest cash crop, corn.
This is our corn planter. We're all dressed up and ready to go to the dance. We're just waiting.
Waiting for the rain to stop long enough to let his soggy, muddy fields dry up so he can start planting. This is what Deneen wants to avoid. But if he were to bring his giant planter through his fields today, this is how it would end up.
You don't want to tear up your field. You spent 6 months trying to get it in shape and ready to run this planter.
He hoped to plant corn March 1st. Now he's praying he'll be able to do so by mid-April.
We're running out of time.
Dallas County, Ellis County, Johnson County, they're all struggling to get in the fields right now.
Roger Hall of the Texas Farm Bureau covers a 7-county area in North Texas.
Some of the small farms and ranches, it is concerning. It's a big deal. This is their livelihood. This is what they do. And so it could be make or break this year.
Something very abnormal. Texas dealing with too much moisture. Meanwhile, the West Coast drought continues. In fact, getting worse. Here comes a new round of predictions now about California's water supply. Ken Bastida reports on what that means for the #1 ag state in the U.S.
Lots of water, not so much water. We're right down there.
If the governor's warnings haven't scared you into shorter showers, how about this headline in the L.A. Times? A NASA scientist using sophisticated satellite imaging says California is down to just 1 year's worth of water storage.
The realization about how bad the drought is beginning to sink in.
Water expert Peter Glick doesn't exactly agree with that dire 1-year prediction, but he's hardly optimistic.
And the reality is we've drawn down over the last 3 years and now 4 years of drought. Our reservoir storage, we've overpumped our groundwater, our soils are dry.
It's a collision of problems creating a drought unlike any we've seen before.
In 76, 77, we had the worst 2-year drought on record, but we have almost twice the number of people in the state as we had at that point.
Then there's climate change, which means drought combined with California's 3 warmest years on record.
And that increases demand for water, increases loss of snow, increases loss of water from our reservoirs.
Finally, we're managing all of this with largely 19th century infrastructure and 20th century water policies. And the results are catching up with us.
Farmers wake up when they can't get irrigation water and they have to fallow their land. And that's already happening. Consumers will wake up when their prices for food start to go up.
Simply put, we're now in what is likely the worst drought in California history, with no end in sight.
The truth is, if we don't deal with the drought now, the pain is going to grow and grow, and we're going to have to put in place much more severe restrictions in the coming years.
According to that NASA study, California would need 11 trillion gallons of water to erase what is now a 4-year drought. And the rice industry in the Sacramento Valley taking a hard hit with the drought. It has some farmers skipping out on their fields and growing no rice this year, selling their water to highly populated cities to the south. Reporter John Ramos tells us it's because they're cashing in on a new crop.
The vast rice fields in the northern Sacramento Valley are dry and cracked now, but add water and in a few months they will be lush and green again. Instead, many of these fields will stay looking like this because this year farmers will be doing what was once considered unthinkable, selling their water to Southern California.
In the long term, if we don't make it available, we're afraid they'll just take it.
Charlie Matthews is a 4th-generation rice farmer with senior rights to Yuba River water. But he and his fellow growers have agreed to sell 20% of their allotment to Los Angeles' Metropolitan Water District as it desperately searches to add to its dwindling supply. It's not really surprising that Southern California is looking for a place to buy more water. But what is making news is how much they've agreed to pay for it. $700 per acre foot of water. Just last year, rice farmers were amazed when they were offered $500 per acre foot. This new price means growers will earn a lot more money on the fields they don't plant, making water itself a real cash crop in California.
It's much more than we ever expected to get, but at the same time, that just shows the desperation of the people that need it.
The ripple effect of this will be felt around the entire state. If a Bay Area water district needs to buy more water, it will now be competing with Los Angeles to do it.
They have to pay whatever the last price, the highest price people are paying.
And as the drought situation becomes more severe, Matthews warns that water rights must be maintained to prevent the state from collapsing into chaos.
Then we could have the mob rule, so to speak. Whoever has the most votes gets it all.
As the state heats up for the summer, so will the competition for water, which means when a lot of Californians open their taps, they'd better be prepared to open their wallets as well.
Well, so for farmers in California, a bad situation has become scary. Time is 4:43. We're taking a break, coming right back and checking our weather, how much falling precipitation is contained in our forecast. We'll be right back.